Hello, my dirty girls. Welcome to Training Tuesday. I'm happy to be here tonight. And tonight we're talking about energy vampires, which is one of my many favorite subjects. A lot to say tonight about energy vampires, who they are, how they impact us, what do we do about them? There's all kinds of good stuff to talk about tonight. So, welcome to Training Tuesday. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Natalie Hahn, CEO of Dirty Girls Consulting and leader of our group here, Accelerating Leadership for Professional Women. And I'm thrilled to have you here tonight joining us on this subject of energy vampires. And as usual, I have a second screen over here. So when I'm glancing over here now, I'm actually still looking at and talking to you. My second screen here allows me to hopefully see your comments and questions and things like that because I like for these to be as interactive as possible. So as you come in, say hello, tell me where you're from. And what I really want to know tonight is for the energy vampires in your life, and we all have them, how do they impact you? Right? What's the impact that an energy vampire has on you? And we're going to talk a little bit about this just in general, the kind of impact that they have. But I'm curious because I know that not only do we all have someone or multiple people who fit this description in our ecosphere, but the way they impact us might be a little bit different. How they show up and how we show up might be a little bit different. And truthfully, I want to answer all your questions about energy vampires and what that means and why this is a thing. There's a reason it's a thing. So say hello in the chat and tell me how energy vampire, you don't have to tell me who they are. I mean, you're welcome to share as much as you want. We're in a safe, protected space here. But you don't have to volunteer that it's your mother-in-law, your sister, or your coworker, or your boss. But what I want to know is how do they impact you? What's the impact that an energy vampire has on you? Now, what I want to share with you first is how I first became aware of this idea of energy vampires. And for me, it happened at a relatively early age. Um, and that was because I had help and I had support. So, what was happening was in high school, I had a really great group of friends, but there was one person in the group who always had drama going on. There was always something with her boyfriend or with another friend or with school or with her parents. There was always something going on in her life. And as her friend and as her confidant, right, she told me everything. I wanted to help her. I wanted to support her. I wanted to help her fix it and find solutions. And so I spent a lot of my time and my energy trying to help her. Hey, Joyce, glad to see you. So a lot of my time and energy, and this is as a teenager, was into trying to help my friend solve her challenges, right? Solve her problems. But like she always had challenges and problems. There was always something going on with her. And the challenges and the problems and the drama just kept going. And there were moments where I would confide in my mother that this was going on with this particular friend and I needed help and my mother would give her very sage advice and all of that, but all of this ratcheted up to a point where I just felt like the drama was so much, there was so much going on, and somehow I had to figure out how to fix it and solve it because I was the smart friend, I was the calm rational friend, so surely I could fix this. And what actually ended up happening is one day I broke out in hives, big, giant, red, splotchy hives all over my midsection. Huge hives. And my mother took one look at that and went, yeah, something's going on here. And I went through a series of like allergy tests, right? They poked me and stuff for all kinds of what am I allergic to? What is it? And the conclusion that the doctors and my mother, because this was her suspicion all along, came to was it was a little bit psychosomatic. It was stress. It was how my body was reacting to stress. And my mother, who was privy to a lot of the dramas and stories that were going on in my high school circle, basically said to me, "This has to stop." And she basically grounded me. It was a kind grounding. It was a grounding of I was allowed to go to school and come home from school. So I spent a month, no more basketball practice, no after school activities of any kind, no socializing or seeing my girlfriends, and even I think the boyfriend I had at the time, a month. I was basically grounded. And so what happened was every day I went to school, I interacted with my friends at school, I came home from school, and then I went to my room. And we didn't have a TV. And so and there were no smartphones. So I spent a month every day in my room, laying on my bed, listening to the Violent Femmes. That's what I did. And in that process of that alone time, and in that process of listening, listening to the same lyrics over and over, and it's teenage angst, and it was the Violent Femmes, and it's a great album. But I started separating myself, right? Mentally, I was, because physically it was already happening, and mentally I was separating myself from all the drama that was happening at school. And realizing on my own, with support from my mother, of course, who put me in this isolation therapy, put me in this, realized that those problems and that drama that was going on without me, which that first week was hard because everything was going on without me. Oh my God, what's happening? And I wasn't even allowed on the phone. I couldn't even talk to them on the phone. Um, I realized that the more that I was separated from it, the less important it was. I didn't actually care so much about the drama that was going on. And I realized that it was happening whether I was there to fix it or not. It was happening. So that at the end of the month, when I went back to school and well, I was still in school, but when I went back to social activities with my friends, I didn't feel the need to solve all her problems. I didn't feel the need to take on her emotional energy of distress and drama and all of that stuff. I had a little bit of my space and I had a little bit of me back. And that was my first experience with realizing that there's a thing out there called an energy vampire. Now, that word and that phrase, I didn't put to it till much later, right? Till it was much later. But I kept running into these people, and you do too. So I'm going to ask again what I asked at the beginning of this, right? How do energy vampires impact you? For me, I was driven into the state of exhaustion, of anxiety, and I had hives. As an adult, I don't get hives so much anymore. I do get migraines, you know? The impact on us is physical, it's mental, it's emotional. And the bottom line of the impact that an energy vampire has on us is that we have nothing left to give. We have nothing left to give for ourselves, to support and replenish ourselves. We have nothing left to give to the people who we do love. We have nothing left to give to the projects and to the activities that support our lives, that support the life that we want to create, or that even sometimes support our job and our livelihood. Energy vampires deplete us. That's the role they play. So let's talk a little bit more about what an energy vampire is. Like I said, we all know these people. We all have these people because there is generations of conditioning that have us fall in the camp of either energy vampire or victim of energy vampire. We pretty much fall in those two categories. Now, we can ourselves migrate between the two. But keep in mind, there is a difference between being that friend who, for 4 straight days, all she can talk about is the guy she broke up with or getting fired from her job and she's only eating nothing but Oreo ice cream, right? There's a difference between that and the girlfriend who every weekend is talking about the guy she broke up with, or a drama with a friend, or a drama with her mother and the job and how terrible it is. And, there's drama after drama after drama. We all have those moments where we need our friend group and we're having a pity party and they come right in and help us. That's not an energy vampire. That's a moment in time. And that's support that we all need sometimes. The energy vampire is the consistent one. And the reason why I say we're kind of in these two camps is because we have conditioning from when we are very young that allows us to fall in one of these two camps, because we're taught from an early age that one of these two modes of behaviors benefit us. Now, if you've been on Training Tuesdays before, you've heard me talk about the good girl groove. And I've talked about it in multiple trainings, but I do have a training in our guide section that specifically just defines the good girl groove. And that's one of the reasons that we will fall victim to an energy vampire, because the good girl groove is the training that we have received since pretty much we were babies that says you need to behave a certain way. If you are nice, if you are cooperative, if you are amenable, not argumentative, not too loud, not too big or too brash or too anything, you will get along with other people. And we want to get along, because getting along is how we are described as nice. Getting along means other people like us. And we have a perception, could be real, could not be, but we have a perception of them being able to move forward and to do more. So the good girl groove makes us feel comfortable, because from a very young age, we're taught that. We can be taught, though, from a very young age that being the energy vampire is a way to get things done. You can have modeled for you that relying on other people and pulling and drawing on other people to help solve your problems is also a way to get things done. So either model, getting along or tapping into other people. It's taught, though. This is a learned behavior. So it can be one or the other. And like I said, you can zigzag between both camps, but that's actually somewhat healthy. It's when your consistent behavior falls in one of these camps that we have to step back and look at it and say, okay, what's actually serving me here? What do I really need to be doing? So the energy vampire, your relationship with the energy vampire. You might be in a relationship with an energy vampire if there is someone in your sphere who always has drama. Not only always has drama, but have you noticed it's never their fault? They're never to blame. They didn't cause it. They are the victim. They are collateral damage, but they're not the cause. And your adult rational mind looks at them and goes, really? Don't you think that maybe if you... But they always have an excellent reason, a rationalization for why it's truly not their fault. They're innocent. So you might be in a relationship with an energy vampire if you are surrounded by somebody who has constant drama and the drama is never their fault. They always have a reason for it. You might also be in a relationship with an energy vampire if you are never in the spotlight. Because energy vampires always want to be the center of attention. Their drama is always bigger. Their reward is always bigger. Their crisis is always bigger. There's a lot of one-upmanship, right? There's no growth. There's no identification of self-awareness here. There's bragging. There's bullying. There's always a better story. You might be in a relationship with an energy vampire if you often feel guilted or bullied into going along with a plan, a program, or even just listening to someone when it's not what you really want to do. When you already know in advance that this is draining your energy and you're done with it. You're done with it, but you're not, because you're still there. Some part of you still feels guilty, obligated, responsible, so that you're still there. You're still participating and you're still giving of your energy. Energy vampires show up as martyrs, right? Because it's never their fault. Nobody recognizes them. Nobody appreciates them. And you give energy in the form of, oh, no, but you're great. I appreciate you. I see you. I recognize you. And your energy goes towards making them feel that. So those are some of the signs you can look for when it comes to identifying an energy vampire. And I saw there were a couple of comments here, so I want to see. Joyce wrote, they trigger my anxiety and depression, and completely exhaust me. Unfortunately, sometimes I am my own energy vampire. It's a special talent, Joyce. Well, here's the thing. You are your own energy vampire when you participate in those relationships. You're absolutely right. And I'm going to talk about that next, in fact, and Jackie says the hardest part is creating the boundaries. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we're going to talk about that too. Um, because here's the deal, and this is why I said these are old patterns, right? We're raised with them, we're taught them. But the truth is today, we are all adults, we are all modern women, and we have a choice. We have a choice to be the energy vampire, and we have the choice to be the victim. So today, if you are feeling the effects of energy vampires, the point of the training is to say, you can do something about this so that you are no longer complicit. You are no longer ensuring that you yourself are a victim. See, and I don't like using the word victim to energy vampire, because you are a victim. It puts you in a victim spot. It completely depletes you. You've got nothing left, but you're complicit in that choice. And so we have options for how we manage it. But before I get to that, um, why? Why are you in these relationships? I would love for you to drop in the chat if you can for me why you are in a relationship with an energy vampire, regardless of who it is, your mother-in-law, your father, your boss, right? Your neighbor, the local dog walker. Like the thing is, anybody can be an energy vampire. You can interact with a random stranger on a plane. We do that these days. People are flying again. But a random person anywhere can actually suck the energy out of you in a short 10-minute conversation, even because they're just all about taking, right? They have a need and they're sucking you dry. So, why are you in relationship with these people? Why do we let that happen? I have a couple of theories of why we let that happen. I'm going to share them with you. I'd love to hear what your theories are too. First, it's as simple as our ego, right? We feel good when somebody confides in us. When somebody says, I need your help and you can help me, right? That part of us that is a little bit superhero, right? The perfectionist woman and the superhero woman, I can do it all, I can conquer it all. And like I said, even in high school, I was the common sense friend, right? And I took that on. Yes, I'm the friend who solves problems. And that made me feel good. So I took that on. So there's an ego stroke to being the one that people come to and share with. There's an ego stroke to being the one who's in the know of all the drama. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily. Drama can be fun. I mean, let's just acknowledge that. We all love drama. That's why there were soap operas for decades. And I know there's only like 2 or 3 left on the networks, but guess what? Drama is still drama is still drama. We've just replaced them with other TV shows and movies and things that have drama. We're drawn to it. We're drawn to thrillers, right? We're drawn to family sagas. These feed kind of an emotional pool that we have that lets us tap into a whole range of emotions without actually taking them on. The difference between the soap opera or the TV show and your friends or your coworkers is that because they're real life people and they're in our sphere, we take it on. And that's exactly right, Joyce. We like to be helpful and useful. And we think by supporting the energy vampire, we are being useful and helpful. And so we give. Now, for those of you who are my clients, you know that this is what I call level 4 energy. And level 4 energy is an energy level that is all about selfless service. So in our coaching, we talk about different levels of leadership. Level 4 leaders are the kinds of leaders who might be working for not-for-profits or for philanthropic organizations, or they're mothers. Mothers have a lot of level 4 energy. Again, level 4 energy is a giving energy. We lead by giving. We lead by supporting other people and making sure they have what they need to be successful. It's a really powerful energy level on the positive side. On the shadow side, level 4 energy is very depleting. And that's where the energy vampire plays. Level 4 energy, you might be very strong in level 4 energy if you are in a role with not-for-profit organizations, doctors, medical industry, any sort of service industry where your mission is the care and support of other people. It's a very person to person energy level. We're all about the well being of the other person. Now, like I said, strong energy level as a leader. Lots of women have it because they're mothers, because they're daughters, because we've been trained and ingrained from childhood to be supportive of other people. And the shadow side is you give so much of yourself that there's nothing left for you. Now, when you engage with an energy vampire, you're giving all of yourself and they're taking it. They're taking it with no concept or recognition of just how much you're giving. And that's the thing about energy vampires. It's all about them. Don't expect a ton of gratitude. Don't expect to be paid back, right? Or to have anything given freely to you, because that's not where their mindset is, right? The energy vampire mindset is all about that person and what I need. And they do see it as a very real need. And they will tap into your level 4 energy, into your giving nature by saying, but I need you. But you're the only one who can help me with this. But I trust you. And that feels good, doesn't it? When somebody comes to us and says, but I trust you, but I need you. You're the only one who can help me. And so we buy it. And then a short time later, we turn around and go, oh, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted and I have nothing left for myself. So I think this is a big reason why we allow the energy vampires to come into our orbit and stay in our orbit, because we do get something back from that. We do get the eco stroke. We do get the sense of being helpful, of being a superhero, of being somebody who's in control. If you think you have some control tendencies, you might be somebody who is supporting an energy vampire because you think you can fix that, and we take it on. So again, for those of you who have joined us a little bit late, would love to hear from you. Hi in the chat. The chat is going on, and would love to hear how energy vampires are impacting you, how they impact you, and why you think you respond to them. What is it about their drama, their story, right, that has you responding to them? Now, why are we affected by the energy vampires? We talked about the conditioning. We talked about the superhero complex. Can we also just recognize that you just have a really kind and giving nature? Because that's kind of at the root of it. We're all basically pretty good people. And as pretty good people, we want to be helpful. And the people who are energy vampires intuitively understand that. Now, I don't want to make this out that energy vampires, if you recognize that kind of persona in somebody who's in your orbit, it doesn't mean they're evil people, because I actually believe that most energy vampires are how do I phrase this, are not particularly self-aware. Like we respond to them based on old conditioning patterns of being a good girl. They also are acting out in patterns that they have been trained from childhood. They've been trained. They have been taught this behavior. And it's worked for them. Why has it worked for them? Because people like us go in and support them. They get what they need from us, so they don't have to change their bad behavior. So when we talk about what can you do, when we talk about what can we do to manage the energy vampires, the first myth we have to just brush out of the way is that you're going to change them. Being an energy vampire, it's a mindset. It's a way of thinking. Just like being a good girl in the good girl groove. Say that 15 times fast. That's a way of thinking. It's a way of thinking that I have to be nice to get along with everybody if I'm going to get ahead in life. Being an energy vampire says I have to convince these people to help me because I have so much drama going on. They don't see it any other way. That's the lens through which they look at the world, is that there has to be drama because drama is how I live my life, and then there will be people to fix my drama. It's a habit and a pattern. As we become more self-aware, we start to realize these patterns and dramas don't work for us, and we change those patterns. But the people in your life now, typically are not so self-aware to recognize their destructive behavior. And I say it's destructive behavior because, yes, they're being supported and fed by it, but there's a bunch of other people who have already made changes to manage that relationship so that they're not affected by it. And when you think about the people you know who are always surrounded by drama, I want you to think about what their life looks like overall. And is it really the kind of life that you want to create? Most likely not, right? Surrounded by all this drama, surrounded by all this tension all the time, always pulling people into your story to help save you, fix this, change that, but never taking accountability for yourself. So the first myth is you're not changing this person because this is a mindset. This is their mindset. And unless they're seeing a therapist or they're doing a lot of deep self-work on how they think and perceive the world, there's no lecture, conversation, heart-to-heart talk. There's no aha moment that you're going to provide that's going to just flip a mindset that has been in place for decades. So I want you to take that myth off the table, because also that expenditure of energy is not the best use of your energy. Your energy should be spent creating what I am now calling your ray of sunshine cocktail. We can't kill energy vampires with a silver stake. First, that's violent, it's frowned upon. There aren't a lot of silver stakes out there. Second, the other thing that kills vampires is sunlight. Be your ray of sunshine. And there's a ray of sunshine cocktail that you should mix to help you in this process. And it will be a process, right? So the first ingredient in your ray of sunshine cocktail is to adjust your expectations. You are not changing this person. You are adjusting your expectations to recognize this person is always going to show up as an energy vampire. So I'm not going to expect them to be anything different. I am not expecting them to be anybody but who they are. And the other expectation is I'm now going to expect me, however, to show up differently so that I am not supporting that behavior and I am not depleting myself of my energy. So your first ingredient in your ray of sunshine cocktail is adjust your expectations for yourself as well as for the other person. They are going to be who they are. Who are you going to be? How are you now going to show up as somebody who is not going to cater to an energy vampire? Second ingredient, and Jackie mentioned this, it's creating the boundaries. And it is the hardest part because we hate creating boundaries. Boundaries are another word for no. And we really hate saying no. But that's what they are. Think through what are the boundaries you need to put in place with this energy vampire, not to block them, but to protect you. So if this energy vampire is somebody who's at work and you see them every day, or they're in your family and you see them at every family get together, or it's your best friend even, there's still boundaries you can put in place and still have them in your life. And maybe, pardon me, and maybe the boundary is something around a time limit. You don't get to take 2 hours of my work day to sit in my office and tell me all the things that are wrong at work and in your personal life. You get 15 minutes. Maybe the boundary is topical. Listen, I love you to death, but I don't want to talk about your ex-boyfriend anymore. We've talked about him for 6 weeks straight. We're done. You can talk to me about anything else. I love you. I'm here to support you, but let's talk about those Patriots, shall we? I mean, there are different kinds of boundaries you can put in place that will help shape the conversation, shape the relationship, and create barriers for you that are protecting your energy. So, first, adjust your expectations. Second, decide what your boundaries are going to be. Third, manage your energy. You have to keep track of where your energy levels are and what's best for you. Because the energy vampire has no concept of this and doesn't care. It's not about you. But you have to manage, how much do I really have left to give to this person and to their drama and their space? And if I give this, what do I have left for me, for my kids, for my partner, for my parents, for my work, for my projects? How much do I have left? You are the guardian of your own energy. That's the third ingredient of your ray of sunshine cocktail. Adjust your expectations, define your boundaries, guard your energy. Because the thing is, you're the only person who can do this. No one else is doing it for you. Your energy vampire, whoever that is, doesn't know, doesn't care. So this is 100% in your control. And speaking of that, this is the only thing that's in your control. How you manage your ray of sunshine cocktail, which is meant to nullify, right, to neutralize that energy vampire, that's in your control. What's not in your control is how your energy vampire is going to respond. And it could be, I told you we had a lot. I know we're already at 30 minutes. I'm going to go a couple more minutes, guys. I told you I had a lot to talk about with energy vampires. What's not in your control is how they're going to react. Now, the energy vampire could go with the flow. Spoon theory. Thank you. Thank you, Joyce. Go with the flow. They could adjust to your boundaries that you're putting up. And depending on how close you are or how drama driven they're feeling at the moment, it may not be a big deal. They could throw a fit, but you're always there for me, but you always do this thing for me. And then it's up to you to pull back to your ray of sunshine cocktail and smile and say, I know I have, but I can't do that anymore. I know I have, but there's a different way we're going to manage this now. And I still love you and I still want you in my sphere, but I have some other things I need to do and I need to put my energy and my attention here. But you've got this. You go, right? There's lots of ways we can have those conversations. So they might choose to walk. They might decide if you're not giving them the kind of support that you either have in the past or that they're looking for, they might choose to walk. And that's a consequence. You can't control that though. You cannot control the reactions of the others when you put your ray of sunshine cocktail in place. But I can tell you what the ray of sunshine cocktail will do for you. It will help you feel better. It will give you more energy. It will help you create the life you want with the energy that you want, with the things and the people and the projects and the energy in it that makes you happy, that lights you up, that keeps you motivated. That's what the ray of sunshine cocktail does for you. It protects what's already dear to you. All right, so here's the thing. This is an uncomfortable process. If you've got energy vampires in your life and you know you need to manage those relationships, starting to change and manage those relationships, right? Putting your boundaries in place, adjusting your expectations, guarding your energy is going to be uncomfortable because you haven't done it before. Not this consciously, not in this way, and not with that person. It's uncomfortable for you and it's going to be uncomfortable for them. So how do we get through the discomfort of this? One is your commitment. How committed are you to creating a life that you love? How committed are you to creating energy that you can use for you, for the things you love? That's one. Two is, in the moment that you're feeling uncomfortable, it can help to have a mantra. And I know we use mantras for all kinds of things, but literally when we're talking about a mantra, what are we talking about? We're talking about a few words or a sentence that just helps you reset your head to the right space so that when your energy vampire is coming at you with their stuff and your initial reaction is to react, right? In a very specific, we always react in a very specific way. Oh, no, let me help you. Or, oh gosh, that's terrible, right? We're giving them sympathy or we're giving them support or we're getting in the trenches and we're getting angry right there with them, whatever it is that we're giving. We pull back on that and say, what's that Polish saying? Not my monkeys, not my circus. We remind ourselves with a mantra, with a saying, with whatever it is, this is not my problem to solve. So I love the mantra, actually, not my monkeys, not my circus, because I feel like that's very visual. So use it. Or use not my problem to solve. Or put a more positive spin on it and take a breath and say, my energy priority is, and fill in the blank. My energy priority is Dirty Girls and working with my community. My energy priority is making sure my kids are healthy and happy. My energy priority is building this life that I want, right? Whatever your priority is for your energy, remind yourself of that when you are with the energy vampire. It's just a way to mentally reset, say, right, that's why I have the expectations, I have the boundaries, and I'm guarding my energy because this is my priority. I hope that's helpful. Like I said, I know that we all have energy vampires. We have since we were kids. These are patterns of behavior, both being the vampire and being the vampire victim, that we've had ingrained in us since childhood. So it plays out in all kinds of environments at every stage of our life. And the choice is ours as adults, as ambitious women, as women who are aware. The choice is ours on how we're going to manage this, what we're going to let them take, and what we're not. And it's not an easy process. I know that. So before I sign off, ladies, like I said, your options are: one, you mix your ray of sunshine cocktail; two, you let go of the control of the other person's behavior. You let them walk if they're going to walk, you let them adjust their behavior to yours. Something will shift in the relationship because you've created that boundary. You have to let that be. It's going to be what it is. If you're focused on controlling that, you're buying right back into the victim energy. And if it helps you to use a mantra or a phrase in the process, do it. Do something that catches yourself in the moment, that you revert back to, this is why I have my boundaries, this is why I have my expectations, and this is why I'm protecting my energy. If you would love to talk more about this, actually, I always have my 15-minute Dirty Girl mini dig. You can drop dig in the chat and we'll talk about how we help you identify your energy vampire or what to do about it. But I also want to tell you that we have a masterclass coming up about using your voice. So, related theme, right? It can be hard to speak up for ourselves. It can be hard to push back on other people. Oftentimes, we don't defend a position. We don't set a boundary. We stay quiet, and there's all kinds of reasons why. So own your voice. How to speak up, speak out, and speak powerfully is the new masterclass that I'm doing. So it's new stuff. It is May 12th. I really should have looked that up before I just started talking about it live, right? May 12th. It's a Wednesday, right? 2 Wednesdays from now. You guys are going to see more in the group posted about it. I think I posted earlier this week about it. Would love to see you there. So if you would like to join the masterclass, drop voice in the chat below, and I will make sure you've got the link to sign up for the masterclass, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday, May 12th. Otherwise, if you want to have a conversation about your energy vampires and how to manage it and what you're doing with your energy, drop dig in the chat and we'll do a 15-minute conversation just talking about you and how you're using your energy to fight your energy vampires instead. All right, ladies, it is already well after our time. Go mix your ray of sunshine cocktail, and I will see you next Tuesday.